What we call this is addiction. That is the simple word we use for repeated sin. When you constantly engage in an ungodly thing, it becomes an addiction. To the point you can call it an addiction, you realize you are no longer in control of this sin anymore. It just gets to you and you do it. That is a spirit. That is an evil spirit that urges and pushes you into that sin. The Bible says in Galatians chapter 5, verse 16, that this I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. There is a need for us to walk in the Spirit at all times, so that we will not fall into temptation. When we fall into temptation, it is not always easy to get out of it, because the sin tries to pin us down till it becomes a stronghold in our life. Masturbation and watching indecent things on the internet. There are literally thousands of Christians who struggle with this sin. It is not as if they want to do it, but during the course of 24 hours in a day, the feeling of an uncontrollable urge and then an evil spirit entices them. Let's say something pops up on the internet or in a film they're watching. Then the next thing they know, they're committing that sin. And afterwards, there's a sense of shame. They didn't want to do it. They feel like, what's the point of me trying to pray to God?
This has become the highest success of the devil because it escalates evil both in believers and non-believers. King David was a great man of God who did great things by the mighty hand of God. In fact, the Bible calls him a man after God's heart, but the devil only used lust to ruin his reputation. 2 Samuel 11, 2-5. Then it happened one evening that David arose from his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful to behold. So David sent and inquired about the woman. And someone said, Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? Then David sent messengers and took her. And she came to him, and he lay with her, for she was cleansed from her impurity, and she returned to her house. And the woman conceived, so she sent and told David, and said, I am with child. Verse 15. And he wrote in the letter, saying, Set Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retreat from him, that he may be struck down and die. God wasn't pleased with David, as lust had led him to commit adultery, and later on murder Uriah the husband of Bathsheba, so as to cover up his sin. This later came to affect David when he wanted to build a temple for the Lord. He was rejected, as his hands had blood. Because of the great effects of lust, man should find ways of overcoming it, beside of them, and therefore they should always be careful not to fall into the trap of the devil.